Hey everyone, Greg Marchand here. Welcome to another episode of the Virtual Instructor-Led Training Program brought to you by the Service Sales Academy. Let's talk about the one thing you need to know about managing. So this is for shop owners and managers out there, or folks that are headed in that direction. Is there only one thing? Yeah, I wish. There probably isn't only one thing. But you know what? I could probably boil it down to one of the really important things that will help you get to be a better manager and make your life a lot easier. Some management skills are more difficult to acquire than others. Some are more obvious than others. But there is one overarching thing that you do need to know as a manager or a shop owner, and that is time. If you can learn to manage time, you're better off. But think about this. Is it just managing time? No. You got to learn to manage. You got to learn to manage, and learning to manage takes time. Learning to manage is a skill, all right? It's just like learning to fix a car. When you first learn anything, you think you know more than you really do. And you were good at fixing cars, and so you bought a shop, or you built a shop, or you became a shop owner somehow, some way. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm a shop owner. But you never think about, I need to learn to manage and how much time that's going to take. You're not going to be good at learning to manage anything at first. You might not be good at learning. You might not be good at managing. You might not be good at managing anything. All right? So you've got to give it time. Time is a really, really important component here. I think that if we're going to recognize that, all right? I want you to recognize that time is everything. It takes time. You've got to manage time. It's not going to happen overnight. But if there's one thing that you can do to learn to manage, you got to have commitment. You absolutely have to have commitment to the time it will take to learn. You've got to commit to the learning process. You got to recognize it's going to take time. It's going to take things that I have to do. And so therefore, I need to commit to that process. You've got to commit to your people in your shop, your organization, I call it, to get better. It's about commitment. Commitment to making mistakes and learning from them. Because you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be good at this. But you got to have commitment to going through that. It's part of that learning process, right? And you've got to commit to the time, because it does take time. But without commitment, and I don't remember the quote, there's a mountaineering quote about, before there's commitment, there's just wasted time, there's just nothing, you're wandering aimlessly, and once you commit, you can move the earth. And really, it's true. Once you commit, you can make this happen, but you have to have that kind of commitment. Think about the learning process. So if we're going to commit to the learning process, what does the learning process look like that we're going to commit to? It looks like reading. It looks like studying. You're watching videos. You're taking online courses. Maybe you're talking to other people. Maybe you're making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. You're doing stuff. That's what that learning process looks like. Now, we teach kids at a young age that learning is school. Okay, and then at some point in life, we learn that learning is life. All right, yeah, we can go to a formal educational program, or we can watch a formal educational program, or we can learn from life. But learning from life takes self-motivation. It takes a commitment to reading, watching, talking, and doing. You can learn that way, but you got to commit to it. All right, we're committed. What can I read, Greg? When are you going to read, I would ask? Set aside an hour every day to read about a management topic. Do it before you go to sleep at night. Do it when you first wake up in the morning, you're having a cup of coffee. Set the time aside to read about a management topic. So some of the best people I know in business in general, not just our industry, but business in general, they read constantly. They might read 2 hours a day if you add it all up. Maybe they only read 10 minutes at a time. But at the end of the day, they have read an hour or more, okay? You can find online articles. I use Flipboard. It's an online magazine. You can fill it with whatever your interests are, and it feeds you articles every day. And yes, I mean, you got to filter, you got to look and see who wrote the article and where it's coming from and whatnot. But you can filter that, and you can read topics that are of interest to you. I read business books. Some people listen to podcasts. Okay, but you can find management topics out there, whether it be podcasts or books or articles. You can read about doing employee reviews, about onboarding processes, about work schedules, dispute resolution, marketing, compensation. I mean, look, there's 1,000 management topics out there. And the thing I like about using Flipboard is it gives it to me in small increments. All right, and I can save the articles. And I'll save a whole bunch and I'll download them and read them on an airplane at some point. But you read, you engage it. And you don't know where ideas are going to come from. You don't know where that one little nugget of management help is going to come from that's going to change your world as a manager, as a shop owner. All right, so read. What can you watch? Heck, you can watch YouTube videos if you want. Guys, look, this is 2019 as we're recording this, right? We live in a world of media. It is just, there are thousands of online courses. There are thousands of videos. There's tutorials out there. There's forums out there. There's video forums out there. There's video blogs out there. There's so much information. You can find it. You know, look, you're watching this right now. So you got to start. Find the management programs. You can search this. If you're using the Service Sales Academy app, you can search all our videos now. So search it for management. Search it for people. Search it for whatever keywords you want to learn more about. And find something. And then take one little thing that maybe I said or came up in a program, and then go research that. Go Google that. See what you can find. All right? There's a lot of online resources now to help you become a better manager. If you're committed. That's the one thing you need to know about managing. You've got to be committed to becoming a manager. Join a management group. I think that's one of the best things you can do. Join a SMART group. Join a 20 group. Join a mastermind group. Join a group of peers that will help you to share experiences and learn from each other. I think it's one of the best things you can do. Don't try to learn in a vacuum. It doesn't work. I've tried it. You have to join some of these groups. Okay? So find the groups, join them, and attend. And then look, sometimes no matter how much you read, watch, listen, talk to others, you've got to just do something. Because you can, you know, the whole paralysis by analysis adage, it is so true in management. I watch shop owners, they will think about something for 6 months when they're so far better off starting with imperfection. It's not about being perfect now. It's about doing it, making the mistakes, making the modifications, and moving on and learning from it. Learning will happen faster if you get to doing. So get to doing and let the learning happen. Commit for the sake of your people. Commit to learning, to manage. Do you know most employees quit because of the manager or the coworker? Most employees quit because of the manager or coworker. Seriously, don't let that be you. You know how hard it is to find people and keep people, let alone chase them out of your own organization. Commit to learning for the sake of your people. Commit to your people. Commit to your organization. Show them that you're working on becoming a great manager. Learn to listen to them. Learn to actively listen to them. Learn to have discussions with people without getting angry, upset, telling them what to do, telling them the way it is. It's a real skill set. It's a real skill set, and you can learn it. Learn to create win-win scenarios. Recognize, hey, have some empathy. Recognize where they sit, how they see it. What's in it for them versus what's in it for you. They don't care about you the way you might care about them. They just don't. We're all in it for ourselves. Learn to create win-win situations in dispute resolution. Learn to listen. Learn to have conversations. Learn to debate and be okay with debate. One of the best managers I ever had. I'll never forget. He was awesome because we could agree to disagree and there were no ramifications. He knew I felt differently than he did. I knew he felt differently than I did. And there was no problem with that. Okay, we're going to move on. I disagree with you. You disagree with me. No problem. Just a difference of opinion. And we move on. Neither one of us had to be right. Okay? So commit to learning for the sake of your people, for the sake of your organization. And look, it's okay to make mistakes. Commit to being not afraid to make mistakes. It's far better to try something that may not be perfect than wait too long to implement it. You might miss the boat. Or all you do is you delay the learning curve, and that's no good. That's not going to help you. Mistakes are part of the game. Be open to making them. Admit your mistakes, reflect on what went on, how you made that decision, what you might be able to do better in the future, make modifications, and move on. Okay? Commit to learning, commit to your people, commit to making mistakes, to not being perfect. And that the commitment can be hard. I understand that. The commitment can be really hard. You'll want to know that you can go back to what you know and are comfortable with. Too often, because there's not enough commitment to learning to manage, to learning to be a business professional, you fall back into fixing stuff. You fall back into working with people at the service counter because that's what you know, that's where your comfort zone is. You really have to commit to being uncomfortable. All right? You've got to keep being the manager. You've got to keep being the owner. You've got to continue to work on the business, not in the business. Commit to that. Get yourself, recognize, hey, look, you know what? You might have been the world's most awesomest technician ever. But you have a different role now. You're a manager. You're a shop owner. Maybe you were great with people. Maybe customers loved you and you could sell the living daylights out of everything your shop sells. It's not your job now. Not your job. You're a manager now. You're a business professional now. All right? Keep managing. Commit to that. You'll know when you're learning to manage. You'll find yourself working on the business rather than in the business. You'll realize the business is growing. You'll realize, somebody said to me recently, I couldn't work on those cars anymore. Amen. I get it. And it wasn't comfortable for me. I realized one day I walked into a shop and I looked at what they were doing and I went, I couldn't do that. It was really, really hard because I pride myself on being the technician that I was. But you know what? That's not my role anymore. That's not what I do anymore. I have to get good at other things now. And that's how you know you're progressing. You realize, shoot, I couldn't go back to that now. Hey, you grew. Congratulations. You committed to it and you grew. And that's a good thing because you're going to see the business start to grow. You have to have that commitment. The best way to do this is to make the time and the commitment. And by doing that, what I mean is set time aside each day for certain tasks. It's the only way you're going to make that happen. Set time aside. Work on creating accountability in your people. You don't want them to rely on you. A lot of shop owners, and managers to some extent, but usually shop owners, they want to be the glue that holds it all together. And you can't be. You can't be the best one to fix the cars, the best diagnostic person in the shop, the best salesperson, and you can't do it anymore. You hired people to do that. Hire the best people you can and get the heck out of their way. But by doing that, you also have to create accountability. You don't want them leaning on you. You know, sometimes I got to tell shop owners, you're gone. Get out of the shop for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Get out, gone. You're not allowed there. And you're not going to call, and you're not going to email. You're going to stay out of there because they need to learn to make decisions on their own. They have their job. You have your job. So you've got to commit to saying, okay, look, I will set time aside every day for learning, for doing my email, for working on process, for whatever management piece it is you're working with. And I'm going to create accountability in my people. You can track all of this, all right? You can keep track of your learning. Look, sign up with a learning program that has a learning management system so you can see what classes you've taken so that, you know, there's evaluations as part of that. Get a day planner. Write the stuff down. Make lists. Don't try to keep it in your head. If electronics work for you, great. Keep a list electronically. All right? But write this stuff down. Document all of this. Review your successes and your failures every week. Review them at the end of every day or the beginning of every day. Write it down. Keep track of the learning. Keep track of how you create accountability with other people. What went right? What went wrong? A lot of it's learning psychology, but it's part of your commitment to learning to manage your organization. The one thing you've got to know is it's going to take time and it's going to take commitment. It does not happen overnight. You have to set time aside for that learning. You have to be disciplined about documenting that journey, if you will. You've got to learn to let people do their jobs and not step in every time you see something not being done quite like you would do it. You have to create accountability. Sometimes that means asking questions. And you have to guard against going back to what you know. You have to have a conscious awareness of that. That when you find yourself out in the shop talking about a problem vehicle, talking about a diagnosis, talking about how they're doing that courtesy inspection, ask yourself, do I really need to be doing this right now? Or is this me getting in my comfort zone? Learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what you really, really need to do. Now, we could go on for hours on this one topic, all right? We've got a management class, an instructor-led class. Ask me about it if you want to attend it, okay? But this is just the one thing that I think you should know about managing, and that is it takes time and it takes a commitment on your part. You want to talk more? Give me a call. Keep up the great work and never stop learning.